I'm a member of Writers Guild of America East. I have been since March 2020, and they're an incredible union. I feel really honored to be a part of it.
And have you been on the picket line a couple of times already?
I have. I'm actually a picket captain, and so I've been a strike captain. I've been out there most days of the week, helping to lead pickets and rally, the troops to. Sometimes it's been big rallies in front of the studios. Sometimes it's been, awareness and spreading leaflets on the street. And sometimes it's like what we're doing today, which is hopefully shutting down production and hitting the studios where it hurts and costing them millions of dollars so they'll come back to the table and give us a fair deal.
And just explain to me what you're looking for in terms of pay.
What we're asking for ultimately is less than 2% of profits for the shows that we create and come up with story-wise. These shows wouldn't exist without us. It's our IP in the larger sense. And what we're asking for is for residuals to be the same for streaming as they are for network TV and regular TV. We're asking for pay to match what's happened with inflation. Woo, thank you. We're asking for, and one of the biggest things that we're fighting for is to protect the different progressions you can make in your career. So it's not just about money. It's also about making sure that you're not stuck at the lowest level, but that you can progress up to story editor and showrunner, and you can learn in your career and grow in your career. They've been cutting TV rooms back to really small sizes, and they've been cutting these rooms back to really small sizes, and so you go from gig to gig to gig, but you're never actually able to climb up the ladder to the next thing and learn the next thing in order to develop your own shows. And for features writers, like I write movies, there's this thing called free work. The way these deals have been structured, you may work for 6 months to a year on a script and do a bunch of rewrites and never be compensated for that if they decide not to do it. And so what we're trying to fight for is make sure that A, there's not too much free work, B, that there's a future in this career so you can continue to be a writer and grow. And then the other big piece, of course, is the AI piece. We're trying to make sure that, look, it's not that AI is inherently bad, but AI shouldn't be credited as a person. It shouldn't be a writer. And we're asking them to come to the table and say that a writer will always be credited as a human, and then that AI can be used as a research tool. But they're not even willing to meet us on that. What they've said so far is, we'll give you one meeting a year about the progress of technology. That one meeting a year is going to put us so far behind that in a couple of decades there may not even be jobs as writers anymore. So we're fighting for that.
And have you been in negotiations over the last since you've been in strike, or how?
No, my understanding, I'm not on the negotiating committee, but my understanding is the negotiating committee has been asking them to come back to the table, but they haven't come back to the table yet. That may change since DGA is negotiating this week and SAG just had a strike authorization vote, and they go into negotiation soon. Their contracts expire on June 30th. So I think for June, you're going to see a lot more of this. And then after that, we'll see what happens and if we can go back to the table. I will say that the solidarity, the people that you see behind me are not just writers. It's people from a lot of different unions. It's actors, it's crew, it's Teamsters, it's IATSE, but it's also people who are Steelworkers Union and Teachers Union. I mean, the solidarity from unions across the board in this strike has been incredible. It's been really humbling. This feels like it's not just about us, it's a big moment for labor across the country.
And there was a big turnout today, and as we just saw, a lot of people beeping horns passing by. You're getting some support.
The support's been amazing. We've had some turnouts where there's been, over 1,000 people. There are some pickets that have been really small. But even when it's really small, I mean, we have shut down productions for the day and cost them millions of dollars with no more than sometimes 3 people. All it takes is 2 people to hold the line. And so if you keep coming in shifts and people keep showing up, I mean, I've gotten, a lot of us have been getting up at 3 in the morning to be there at 5 a.m. and to stay and be there before crew can load in. So it's been intense, but the support has been incredible.
And the production crew won't cross the picket line. That's why you're trying to get there before they assemble, is it?
Yeah, so their leaders have been amazing. They have been amazing in expressing solidarity with us. And so as long as we're there and we have a picket line, most of them have said that they won't cross. And if they don't cross, they can't start production. They can't, put in the electrical or get sound going. And so it's only because of their solidarity and their willingness to do that this is even working. It's really about how all of us work together, and they know that our fight is their fight, and when it's their turn to fight for a contract, we'll be right out there on the picket lines with them fighting for them.
This isn't the first time that the picket has been here. Is this your first time here? Have you been outside the studio before?
I've been outside the studio before. I've also been in New Jersey. We've shut down a lot of productions in New Jersey too, and there's been some here. There's been some at the other Silvercup studio. There's been some upstate. People have been driving sort of far and wide wherever there's productions in the tri-state area to try to shut things down.
And how do you identify what the picket is? Just that whatever's been shot on any given day that you decide to just shut it?
It's strategic. We're looking at what has permits. There's a much more qualified people than me who are, thank you! Our leadership team is looking at what is shooting every day and making strategic decisions about what makes the most sense. Ultimately, our goal is not to put people out of work. Our goal is not to cost people a day of work. Our goal is to do whatever it takes to get the studios back to the table to give us a fair deal. So they're looking at productions and saying, which of these things is going to move the needle on that? Which of those things is going to make them say, okay, we'll come back and talk? Because we need them to come back to the table.
And you definitely feel that things are building in your side.
I think so, yeah.
Tell me, what kind of movies have you written in?
I mostly have written Christmas movies and TV movies, so a lot of Hallmark, a lot of, like Lifetime, that kind of thing, where it's a lot of feel-good movies, rom-coms, a lot of romance.
We need people like you more than...
Yeah, no, I mean, during the pandemic, it was, before that, it was a fun thing to do that I love to do, but you saw the value of people need to know that there's kindness out there. People need to know that there's a story is how we heal things. And so it's not just that we all want to do this thing because we love it. I really, truly believe, like, in my bones, that creating story where people can experience healing is a thing that's very beneficial to everyone.